Thank you for coming to the October meeting of our webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about the W-2 processing at the end, going over and covering the pieces that need to go in. There's a couple of new additions to what you need to do in the process. So, and a couple of things to look out for. So we're just going to cover those. But first, I wanted to go and cover what has changed. So we will go back to what has changed. Starting over, we've added several new reports, but the main report that we did that's been piece is we fixed the out of balance journal report. It was definitely doing some really weird things before, so now the got it into the newer report format. We have done several things to fixed assets where we allowed an in-service date. We did an update to the general ledger for cleared and open checks. We have done some work on the inventory for the report for inventory labels for purchase orders. We added a right click to the context menu, which we covered a little bit before last time, which you'll see as you can see in here, if you see these things, you can right click. You can right click on here and you see the different options to go and watch something. And let's see, you can read in here. I mean, I don't need to go through all of this, but I'm just going to hit the highlight ones that are big. The other big one we did just recently, which again, this release was at the end of the month. We did the, which one was it in here? There's one in here that I wanted to do. GL Post was a big one. We changed GL Post to have, when you go to GL Post, you'll see that where we showed the balance of the journal, that's been changed a bit. Updated the calculation. Yeah, PR MERS, this is the one. PR MERS was having some very weird calculations for the employee benefit, or employer benefits, I mean. And so we've kind of went back through all the formulas for that, and we found some very strange anomalies in how things are working. So we believe we've cleaned it up. So the next time you submit your PR MERS reports, please double check all the numbers and values. It'll be to make sure that there wasn't anything that we overlooked. Nope, the other stuff isn't, well, you can read about it and look at it. It's not super critical for this to be highlighted today. Yep. All right. So moving on, we're going to be covering now the year-end W-2s. And if we come up here, so the screen itself hasn't changed, but several of how we process the deductions have. So we'll go to 2021. I'm going to recalculate. Okay, so as always, you can come in here and select one guy and modify a guy. And you can make any changes you want to his W-2 whatsoever you desire. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so then, but when you're ready to generate the forms and reports, it's kind of important to follow through with making sure that you have the people who check that are supposed to be on it. So usually it's everyone, but sometimes you might have somebody that really is not supposed to be reported. So if you do, you have a chance here to uncheck them and they won't be reported on their W-2s. So this part here is for your W-3, and then this part here is for your plain paper. So if you're going to do copy A to report to the federal government, print the form. And again, you get the copy only will go away when it's calendar year 2000, whatever, too. But you'll get this, reported correctly on here. Same thing with like the W-3. pretty straightforward. It's not that hard to do. It's pretty easy. And then, of course, if you're going to be putting in the electronic file, and it generates the electronic file to be uploaded. All right, so that's basically how to run it. It's really pretty straightforward. It isn't that hard. But there's been some new updates by our government that we need to cover. Right now, the paper W-2s are still available, but coming in 2 years, they will no longer be available. Everything will have to be electronic for the processing. You'll still be able to print paper W-2s for giving them to your employees, but just so you know, that's going. The SSA has already indicated they're moving toward 100% electronic. So when you get into their BSO or business services, I don't remember what the O stands for, package to upload the file, make sure you run it through AccuAge first up there. If that doesn't make any sense, I'll cover that in a minute. And then and basically, I want to let you know that we're trying to keep in step with what the SSA regulations and formats are as they become available. Currently, we don't even have the new paper W-2 layouts yet. They haven't released them to me. So we're kind of waiting on that. I should have those. They claim I should have those by November 10th. So then I have a chance to get those, we put those into our software and get them approved. And then the main thing that I wanted to talk about is just the change that we had to do for the MERS deduction codes. But you should go through and ensure that all of your W-2, all your deduction codes have the proper W-2 reporting information in them. And then we're going to cover that. So this is the notice. I don't know if you guys got this notice, but basically it says, in 2022, it's if you have 100 in 2023, this is the one that's important. It's lowered to 10. So if you have more than 10 employees, you have to form electronic. So I'm just letting every one of my customers know that let's just start reporting electronic if we have to. You may have to send it to your county and be included in that, but basically it's, we need to go the electronic route. Also, that is February 1st of 2022. Again, that shouldn't be anything new as far as when you have to report the filing. And here's where they talk about a little bit on the W-2s electronic. It's free, so it's, what do they call it? I think it's in here somewhere. Business Services Online, yeah, the BSO. It's a free place to go, so you can sign up to it for free. You'll get an ID. Once you have that ID, that's the ID you put into our software at the beginning. When you're making the W-2, your WFID. Then they have a whole training tutorial and videos on how to use it. It's pretty straightforward. You will see a little thing in there on AccuAge on doing it that they talk about. So I just want to let everybody know that that's coming. But the big news is that you really are going to need to do this because I think only 2 of my customers have less than 10 employees. So you're going to have to do the reporting to the federal government. And then the W-2 paper people has said that they're probably not going to have changes as of 2024, that those are going to be phased out. So while this one doesn't say by 2024 we won't have it, I got to believe, since the paper guys are telling me that now, that we're not going to have any paper W-2s available at all to send to the federal government. Again, the paper W-2s can be used for printing and giving them to your employees, but the W-2s for the government, the W-2 copy A, does not. Also, there's going to be a change this year. I went too fast on these. Let me go back. There we go. I need to go here to get back to our software. So here, when you print copy 1 to go to the state government, if you send it to the state, that's going to be here. But the 4 up, this is going to change. Right now, if I print one, it hasn't been changed yet. The Social Security number that's printed on here is just going to be printing the last 4. we're no longer going to print the whole social security number. That was a change that was made on July of this year. That was sent out. We just haven't put it in yet because, again, nobody does W-2s until the end of the year. So you'll see up here, it'll just say, you know, X, 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 and then 9278. This is the one that you send to your employees, is the 4 up. Because other than that, again, this is your WSID here for the electronic file. When you create the electronic file, it asks where do you want to put it. I'm putting it in a folder. And then this is the file that you'll upload to the SSA for AccuWage and or when you actually submit it. I'm trying to think of what else is next on the W-2s. Yes, the deduction codes. Okay, so what I wanted to cover was, again, it's real important to have these set up before you run the W-2s. And the ones that are important are when you get to one of your MERS ones. Let me go here. Make sure you have a plan type set for the MERS so that it can be included correctly on so the dollar amounts can get included correctly on the W-2. That's been a problem before, whereas the MERS plans were messing up like HS, like healthcare and showing the healthcare totals. But again, if it's going to be a MERS deduction code, make sure you have it something specified here. Do not have it be blank. So here we're using the box 12 EE for this deduction. Again, these are those also important, whether it's box 14 or box 12. Make sure these are set correctly for all of your, for every one of your deductions. And the database I have has been played around with, so I don't know what it's gonna, some things are there, some things aren't. But again, just make sure that all this information is set correctly before you calculate your W-2s. And if the dollar amounts don't come out right, please give us a call. We will be on the spot to be able to fix it. It's not going to, it should come out. This year should come out pretty close to being perfect, especially since we now have a way of separating out the MERS from the other deduction codes easily. Okay, so our next webinar is actually on the 1st, November 1st. Be the same link as always. And again, I'm not sure what we're going to have for our teaching topic. I'm hoping to have more on the web-based time card entry by then, to basically be able to show and tell that, a little bit when we get there. All right, I'm now open to all questions and answers. Let me bring back the list so I can get the chat list. All right, any other questions? I'm here to, answer anything you have. Any questions on the W-2s? Other than just plan on this year getting started with the electronic if you haven't. Yes, the template screen has we found another bug in it. I think Brett is still working on it, but it's much better with the, the save button, because that everything that you did has now been pushed to the data. But we still have some issues, like when if you copy and paste or cut and paste, I can't remember one of those two, it doesn't delete everything it should. But we did have a fix for it, so it should be out. In fact, almost right after today, I'm going to be releasing that. All right, I have nothing coming through, so I'm not going to keep you all on suspense. Again, our next webinar is the 1st of next month. And like I said, most likely we'll again be showcasing the highlights of the web session the web time card thing we're doing.
You are now working smarter with ProFund Accounting. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.